Alright guys, in this video we're going to be talking about how you can factor non-quadratics using the AC method. So if you're unfamiliar with factoring using the AC method, make sure you check out my other videos where I go into detail how you can factor quadratics using the AC method. Alright, but for this video we're talking about how you can factor non-quadratics using the AC method. Now remember, the AC method is specifically for quadratics, and if you forgot what a quadratic is, we can write it in the form as ax squared plus bx plus c. Alright, that would be considered a quadratic. Right? Well, we can actually factor non-quadratics using the AC method. Alright, so I'm going to erase this, and we're going to start with a problem such as x to the fourth minus 25x squared minus, plus 144. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to write the equation of a quadratic just up here so we can refer back to it. Ax squared plus bx plus c. Alright, so that is the equation of a quadratic. So if you look at this problem right here, you may notice that, well, this isn't a quadratic. Because if we look at a quadratic, right, we notice that it has a degree of 2. Well, here we have a degree of 4. So in order to use the AC method here to factor this, okay, we need to actually manipulate this. So in order to manipulate this, we have to do, well, something with this exponent here. Right? And in order to do that, we can rewrite this as x squared and then to the second power minus 25x squared plus 144. Okay? And now looking at that, we can say right here, well, we have an x squared and an x squared. So why don't we go ahead and define these? Let's say that x squared equals u. Alright, so anywhere that we see an x squared now, we're going to plug in a u. So knowing that, well, here's an x squared, I'm going to plug in a u. So now we have u, actually we can get rid of these parentheses right here, u squared, right, minus 25, well, here's another x squared, so u plus 144. Now you may be looking at this and you say, well, that looks like a quadratic now. And so now we can use the AC method to go ahead and factor this. So if we do that, we'll do a times c, which equals, well, 144 times 1, that's going to be 144. Right? And then we say to ourselves, what two numbers when we multiply are going to be 144, but add up to negative 25. Right, and that is going to be negative 9 and negative 16. Okay, so I'm going to write this as u minus 16 and u minus 9. Okay. Alright, well, looking at this, alright, let's erase this work right here. Let's refer back to what we called u. We said u is x squared. Well, let's replace the u now with x squared and see what happens. So x squared minus 16, and now x squared minus 9. Okay? Well, at this point, we can go ahead, and we can factor this a little bit further. We know this is a difference of two squares, so I can rewrite this as x plus 4, x minus 4. Okay, and then I could have x plus 3 and x minus 3. Right? And this is completely done. So you can see how we just were able to factor a non-quadratic using the AC method. Alright? And this is your final answer right here. Let's try another problem. Alright guys, so here is our next problem. We have x to the 6th power minus 17x cubed plus 16. So again, just like the first example, we're going to go ahead and try to make this into a quadratic by manipulation. Alright, so what we can do here, looking at this, if we make this to x to the third power, and then raised to the second power, and then we have minus 17x cubed plus 16. Alright, well, using the same principles that we used in the first example, we can say that x cubed here is going to be u. So I'm going to write that right here. U equals x cubed. Alright? And now we're just going to replace any way that we see an x cubed with a u. So when we do that, we'll plug in let's do this with a different color. Plug it in with a u. And then this will be squared minus 17. And again, here's another x cubed. So u plus 16. Alright, and now we can go ahead, because this is a quadratic, right? It's in the form of a quadratic, we can use the AC method. So again, we're going to do a times c here. A times c. That will be 16 times 1, which is just 16. What two numbers when I multiply are going to be 16, but add up to negative 17. Okay, so that will be negative 16 and negative 1. Negative 16 and negative 1. Okay? And now, we just need to replace the u with what it is, x cubed. So let me erase this word. Okay? And we'll write this up here. So x cubed, I'm just replacing this u now, x cubed minus 16. Okay? And then we have x cubed minus 1. Alright? Now at this point, you may be asking, well, can we go further with this? Well, looking at this factor right here, there's not much we can do with this, right? We can't do anything with this. However, if we look at this one, okay, if you recall the previous videos, we talked about the difference of two cubes. Alright, and the formula for the difference of two cubes, I'm going to write it up here. It is, we have a cubed minus b cubed, and it's going to equal a minus b, and then we have a squared plus ab, right, and then plus b squared. Okay? So, looking at this right here, this is cubed. We can actually manipulate this one. Alright, and we can do that. I'm going to write this factor below here. X cubed minus 1 cubed. Mathematically, this is the same exact thing as this, because negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1 will be negative 1. So we haven't changed anything, we just manipulated it, and now we can use the formula for the difference of two cubes to go ahead and expand this out. Alright? And just to label this here, we're going to have this part right here is going to be our A, so x is our A. Alright? And 1 is going to be our B. So let's go ahead and just plug this in. So when we expand this out, we're going to have our A here, which is x, minus 1. Okay? And then our A here, we're going to have x squared plus, well, A times B. That's going to be 1 times x, so it's just going to be x here. Okay? And then we have b squared, which is just negative 1 times negative 1, or just 1. Okay? So now, knowing that, we can write the complete factorization. So starting here, our final answer is going to become x to the third power minus 16. And then what we just expanded out here, we'll have x minus 1, and then x squared plus x plus 1. And that is going to be your final answer. Okay, so that is how we can use the AC method to factor non-quadratics.